Hi guys, Howzit, welcome trek all to my Afrikaans-speaking followers. Welcome back to anyone else who speaks English or otherwise to my channel. Yes, a Springbok victory. I know it's a bit of a delay. I know it's a different environment. You guys are used to seeing me in the studio or in my automobile. Before I even get started, I got to give a shout out, Carlene and Grant Visser. The Sofas down the road. These are the ones that got me the Cheetahs jersey and the Lions jersey on their trip back to South Africa. Invited me over. We had a braai. The game was on the big screen. It was absolutely great. Met all kinds of cool South African people that I'd never met before. Really, really great. A gentleman moved here. His kid was in his last year of high school. Finished up high school, is now going to Texas Tech University. Like, look, I try not to be a politics channel, but like, look, the American dream is still a real thing. And I know so many South Africans here in the U.S. that are going after it and getting it. And you want to see your folks shine. You've got Lady in the background. She got the cheese. So we already know what kind of video this is going to be. But unfortunately, once again, we do got to pay the bills. So we will be right back after our sponsor video. Tonight's episode of the Fairweather Rugby Fan is brought to you by Afrikaans speakers who call you my friend. It doesn't mean what you think it means. I don't think I ran into any of these today. It was a couple older people. Carlene's dad was a police officer in Joburg, Joburg, where they grew up. He's retired, obviously. It's kind of weird because you can kind of tell that at one point he was like this, hard-ass guy, but now he's like just a lovable kind of grandpa character. And I mean, that's kind of what you get. Had all kinds of really good conversations today. And it's really good to connect with other South African people and kind of just realize the things that, while we might have grown up in different parts of the world, there's certain things, there's certain tags and kind of things and nuances that it doesn't matter where you're from. If you have any type of connection to South Africa, you have those connections, always. But let's go ahead and get into this. Final score, 30-22 from Cape Town. Some late changes to the Springbok roster. Late. I mean, we're talking like, we already knew Fossey replaced Willie Leroux. Willie got a nickel there at trainings. Quagga Smith comes in for Jean-Luc Dupria. Andre Esterhuizen moves into the 21 jersey. So you're like, oh, a 5-3 split, 6-2 split, 5-3 split, 6-2 split. It ended up being a 6-2 split. We'll go through the news and the notes of the game, and then we'll kind of talk about a few things. But first minute in, not releasing penalty on the Wallabies. Pollard elects to kick. 101 on the day. We're talking 1 minute in. It's 3-0 already. We kind of knew what we were going to get with this team. It was going to kind of be a little bit more of the old style. 3 minutes later, a scrum penalty on the Wallabies. Pollard elects to kick again. It's 6-0, 4 minutes into this one. Another 3 minutes goes by. A quick restart after a scrum penalty, and Toole, the rookie, the debutant, gets a try. And I mean, it's one of those ones that kind of piss you off because it was just kind of like a lapse for a moment there. But he does get it. James O'Connor does kick the conversion. It is 7-6 at the 7th minute. 3 minutes later, box steal deep. Pollard chips it out to Moody to the left. Cannon Moody crosses. Pollard 2-2 on the day. It is now 14-6 or 14-7. Excuse me. 3 minutes later, Fraser McRae he gets a try. It ends up going back that it was like a knock on. It was off a turnover. So it does. It doesn't. It's a knock on by Kellaway. Does not count. It is still 10-7, or excuse me. 13-7. A lot of back and forth, a lot of handling issues. It was a wet game. I think kickoff temperature was 14 degrees. That we made a bet on that. Is it 15, 16, or 17? It was 14. Drizzly. It was a wet environment. You could tell it was a cold, wet environment. Within 5 minutes of the game, any white that you saw had mud all over it. It's what it was. You saw when the cameras panned out wide, the pools of water all around the stadium. The Cape Town Stadium staff worked overtime to try and make sure this pitch was as nice as possible. And at around this time, we're starting to notice missed offsides, missed offside penalties on both teams. Lots of just little things. The referee maybe just letting some of it go, just keep the flow of the game. But it was getting kind of painfully obvious that there were some blatant offsides by the Wallabies not getting called. just a lot of back and forth, 34th minute, Quokka Smith, he crosses after multiple phases right under the post. Of course, Pollard, the Iceman, at that point, 4-4. It is 20-10 going into half. Well, thinking it's going to be it. Siren goes off. A balk penalty for not releasing. O'Connor does kick. So we go into the Sheds 20-10 at halftime. Lots of work that needed to be done in that second half, and we came out and some nasty mistakes early. Defensive failure in the 46th minute. Jorgensen, I know that people are saying Jorgensen owns you. In these last two games, yeah, you can kind of say he has. He's done really well against Springboks. James O'Connor converts. 3 of 3 kicking on the day is now 2017. A Wallaby penalty at the 56th minute. Pollard does elect to kick from pretty deep. He's iced on the day. 5 of 5, 23-17 is the score. 67th minute offside penalty on the box leads to a lineout. They decide to, another penalty. They decide to kick. O'Connor shanks it. There is a try. O'Connor shanks the kick. It is 23-22. 3 of 4 kicking on the day for James O'Connor. 74th minute. Ebenezabeth crosses on advantage. Pollard nails it. 30-22. Unfortunately, at the 76th minute, a high tackle by Sasha leads to a penalty. O'Connor, it looked like they were wanting to kick and then get the ball back and potentially take the lead. O'Connor shanks the kick again. 3 of 5 on the day so far. 78th minute, some debate, obviously in a room full of South African Springbok fans. We kind of wanted to decide on it. But Fossey does get the yellow for the intentional knock-on at the 78th minute. O'Connor elects to kick on the penalty. He shanks that kick as well, 3 of 6. 81st minute, siren going off. We're hoping that we could get the final try to get the bonus point. A neck roll penalty on the Wallabies, kick to touch, and then an errant pass, I believe, to Jesse Creel, and that's it. That's the end of the game. So 30-22. Yes, Esterhuizen comes in for Franco Mostert, plays flanker. Yeah, I think he's played flanker as much as he played center this year. Is that going to become a normal thing? Who knows? Who knows? Some obvious, was it a pretty game? No. But it was, we knew we were going to win. We knew we were going to win last week, and we got our shit handed to us. Some definite defensive lapses on both sides. And you saw early on in the game, Fossey was a non-factor. They tried to keep the ball away from him as much as possible. You did see some weak defense by Kanan Moody on wing. You did not see it on Cheslin Colby's side. That man, he does not give a fuck. He's a little dude and he will take you down. He does not care. Kind of like reminiscent, we brought up Faf de Klerk, how he's the giant slayer. He's the little giant slayer. Was it a pretty game? No. I think Quokka Smith was the man of the match, and if he was, I don't disagree with that. Quokka put in a proper shift. He was our 8 guy. He was great. I hope Jean-Luc Dupree is great. I hope everybody gets healthy. That was out. You saw everybody in the stands. You saw Sia. You saw Bongi. You saw Billy LaRue. You saw all the guys in the stands watching the game. You saw Jasper Visa. A touching moment during the anthem as Spicy Plum, Stephen Kitsoff, was holding the South African flag on the field with the boys. It's a bit of a touching moment just because, we love him. He's a Western Cape guy. He's a Stormer, and it was at home, and, it's nobody wants to go out like that. Like I said, there's guys that go out because they're old, and there's guys that get cut down in their prime. Kitsoff got cut down in his prime by injury. It sucks. A much better performance at set piece play. Last week we fucking struggled. Both Malcolm and Bongi struggled at lineout. Malcolm did great. The little bit of time that we got to see Marnus van der Merwe, he didn't come in until late in the game. He was just fine. Bowen Fenter, Philco Low. A great shift by Thomas Dutoy. Another great game by Oxen Che. Grant Williams seemed to do well with Hondre. It's interesting because we kind of look at like Hondre and Faf as being it, and then Grant with Manny or Sasha. Grant seemed to do just fine with Hondre. When they brought in Sasha Feinberg into the game, I don't know how they laid it out. I don't know if Sasha moved into 12, Hondre stayed at 10 or to 10, and it was just kind of like you just kind of saw them kind of organizing things a little bit differently because I thought Fossey was out. No, Fossey was still in the game. they tried to keep the ball away from Fossey. You can kind of tell. It was kind of like, okay, that's a weak link. Let's try to keep everything away from him. Like I said, you did see the weak links. Kanan Moody at wing was a little bit of a weak link. I don't really know if I'm super comfortable with him playing wing. Damian Dialendi, Jesse Creel, the combo that we needed at center, regardless of their age, they just work really well together. Dialendi is, very good with the ball, all good in hand. We saw a bit of flash of the old Eben Etzebeth going out to try and block box kicks, had some really good runs, good tackles. We saw a bit of that, like I said, that bit of that old Eben that we kind of missed. It took a while to get there, but it finally kicked in. You saw Arhia kind of really picking up the slack too, chasing down the kicks and whatnot. But it was really good. Ron Norkia, another great game. Cannot complain. Escom, great game. Everybody seemed to do a good job. I loved seeing Franco Mustard at flanker again. Really appreciated that. Now, we look ahead. I like to say playtime is over. Playtime was over when we started the Rugby Championship. We just got the memo a week late. But playtime's over. Next up is the All Blacks. We can't afford to fuck up. We need to have the right guys in the right positions for game one. What that team is, who knows? What does it look like? You guys let me know in the comments section. But obviously, these next round of games, the games will be in the middle of the night. So I will be getting up to do those games in the middle of the night because I cannot go without watching these games live. If they're live, I'm going to be there watching them. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments section. How did you feel about today's match? And we will be back very, very soon. Cheers, guys.